Hi, I'm Chris Haigh and this is the Fiddle Channel, and today I'm going to play the Bob Wills classic San Antonio Rose. If you know any Bob Wills songs, then you'll almost certainly know this one, and if you don't, then you should. It was the tune which he wrote, and I think it was possibly his biggest hit, and he referred to it as the song which took him from hamburgers to steaks. It was a big hit for lots of other people after him. I think Bing Crosby was the first one, but lots of other people have recorded this. I'm going to give you three versions. I'm going to show you the simplest version, the version more or less as he plays it, and some ideas for a solo. So let's start off with the simple version, no double stops. So 1, 2, 3. So you can see it has three sections. The A section you might call the verse, and the B section is kind of another verse. And then we have a key change going from D up to A. And then it's back to the A section again. So let's do that one more time with the backing. Now, if you decide that that version is for you, then you can improve it quite easily just by adding some open string drone. Etc. And you could also do some shuffling. You can either stick with the simple one or add those extra bits, or you can do the more authentic Bob Wills version, which is what we'll look at now. So this has some trickier double stops and some nice grace notes as well. So we're going to start off with an open E and an open A, and F sharp with a D under it. And then you shift up to third position, so that first and third finger stay kind of in position, but they go up to third and they move slightly apart. The third finger goes a bit further than the first. And then we slide them back down again. So you might want to spend a bit of time just doing that movement, because we're going to use it a lot. And then from here, so we're going straight up to without doing that first. Slide them down, and you might want to practice. And then, so we got a hammer on D underneath the E and B. Then another hammer on. So hammer on from the B to the C sharp and keep the E under it. F sharp up to a double A. And this is very typical Bob Wills to use an open A with a fourth finger and precede it with that hammer on. Start where we were before. And then here's a tricky little bit. So going through that slowly. And then it's into the next part. So F sharp with the A under it. D with an F sharp under it. And you can put a B above that E. Keep that both those fingers on and do a hammer on to the C sharp. A little twirl here. Another hammer on. Repeat. Hammer on. And then the pedal steel normally will take this bridge, but if you don't have a pedal steel, then you'll be playing it. Right, here's a tricky bit. So we've got second finger playing a G sharp and fourth finger under it, but we're preceding that with sliding it up. And then keeping the 2 and 4 in position. We go, and then it's 1 and 3. And then a similar thing, 1. And that's 2 over 4. Let's do that again. And then, so that's a nice little movement. So it's fourth finger with a second finger above it, and that's a big stretch. If you've got little hands, then that'll be quite a hard one. And then it's back to the beginning. Now, on the original, the fiddle plays all of that with the pedal steel playing that little bridge, but it's an instrumental introduction, and then we have a strange little thing where it changes key to go to the key of A flat. And the reason for this, I would think, is that Bob Wills definitely wanted to be able to play the fiddle part in a nice easy key, and I'm not sure if it was him singing or someone else, but the vocal melody obviously fitted a lot better in A flat. So we have this rather strange thing where the chords being a D, F, B flat. So that's just a movement that gets you through there. Whether you do this or not will depend on who you're playing this with. If you're just doing an instrumental, then definitely just stay in the key of A. But if you do have to go to D flat or want to sound just like the original, then go through that. And then during the, if it was being sung in A flat, then you would probably want to do either some shuffles or chops, and your choice of notes would be assisted by my video on 2-note chords, which kind of helps you through that process. So let's just go through all of that melody. Now let's look at some ideas for soloing. Western swing soloing is in a lot of ways more harmonically advanced than any other form of country fiddle. Certainly more so than bluegrass. There's a lot of things in there in Western swing soloing which are very jazzy and which would be definitely frowned upon in bluegrass. And a lot of it is to do with drifting outside of the chords, playing unexpected notes. And most of the licks I'm going to give you would have originated from Johnny Gimble, who was really in my opinion, the apex of Western swing fiddle. He had so many amazing ideas about how to stretch the chords, and he really understood his theory. These have come via Katie Glassman, who with the Western Flyers is always a good source of licks, and Justin Branham, who is he has a channel called Master Fiddle, and he always has some amazing Texas swing licks as well. So thanks to both of them for the load of their licks. I've got more or less a full solo here, starting off with this lick. So the kind of movement we've got over the D chord, that's what's happening. So your first finger is staying on the F sharp, and you're using third finger, fourth finger, third finger, third. And this is the kind of lick which, once you've learnt it, you can use that pretty well anywhere over a D chord. Or if you were over a G chord, you can do the same thing. Next one is a little filler to take us from G up to E7. So first finger is staying where it is on the B, and then the second finger is going up from the G natural to the G sharp. Then we've got a descending yodel. Again. And this is a very typical Western swing kind of lick, and you'll also find these kind of things in Hank Williams songs. Then we've got a D chord turned into a D6, which you do by, that's the root, that's the third, that's the fifth, and that's the sixth. So whether or not your accompanist is playing a sixth chord, it doesn't matter. You do that, and then we're going to go one beat, half a beat after the bar line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So both fingers are moving together, down, up and down. So if you were just doing one note, it would be 2, 3, 4, 1. What we're doing. And then we're carrying that on, going from there with a B, with a G under it. So again, keeping the two moving together. B stays there, G slides up, and then this is a movement I use a lot to go from an A to a D. So we start in here, E on the bottom, C sharp on the top, and then those fingers are moving down together. B with a D, D with a C sharp under it. Slide those two down, 3 over 2, 2 over 1. So the last two are doing that. It'll take you quite a while to get that one, but once you've learned that, again, that's something you can use again and again. So in this sequence we're going to repeat the whole of that just for practice. Let's just go through those bits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it again. Next we've got a lovely lick from Justin, and this goes, so that's the top, this is the bottom, so it's open over 2, 1 over 3, and then we're jumping up from there, 2 over 4, so the top is going, but the fourth finger is moving under it as well. This is a tricky one. And then, so the top line of this is, or you can harmonise it, and that's using a scale of sixths. Justin actually uses a more difficult harmony, which I practiced and practiced and I couldn't get right. And that's a little lesson in itself, that if there's something that you can't do, then two things. First of all, you find a way to get around it, and secondly, at the same time, you set yourself aside the next week or month or year to actually learn that, but you don't let it stop you from playing the tune. So let's just do those two licks. Then we've got and then that that is a typical Johnny Gimble thing to do over an A chord, so he's emphasising the major 7. And that is a arpeggio starting not on the root but on the 3rd, which ends you on a 9th, which is always an interesting trick. And then we have the really interesting one where we're finishing off the line with an E7, but it's turned into an E augmented. Now, what does that sound like? And how do you do that? It's basically a whole stack of tones, one on top of the other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all the same distance apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you move the whole hand up half a step. So it's again 1, 2, 3, 4, and then whole hand up again onto the next string. And then it's quite easy going up, it's a bit harder going down. So that's what we're doing. And that's a typical thing that happens at the end of a line on what's called the dominant chord. And it's a great trick, a real Johnny Gimble trick. And then we're finishing off with that simple line. Actually, I say it's simple. So 2 over 1, slide down a semitone, 1 over open, and then 4 over 3. Let's go all the way through that second half. Here we go. So, plenty to keep you busy there, and even if you only learn one of those licks, it'll still be worthwhile. I don't give you this as an idea for what you might actually play as your whole solo. That's not a great idea. But yeah, learn a few of these licks that you really like and that suit your level, and try and put them into other tunes, and you'll find that it was really well worthwhile. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. If you send me an email, I'll send you a copy of the licks, and I'll play you out with a improvised solo. So see you again soon.